I heard my dog barking outside, written by Yo Katsuya YT. My name is Elliot, and I live in the middle of nowhere. I don't mean that in the way that I have other people living near me. I don't live in a small town. I mean it in a real, isolating way. My house is about an hour's drive to even the nearest small town, surrounded by miles of thick and tall trees. Even the grass was a bit too tall, where roads seemed to stretch forever before fading into nothing. There are no neighbors for miles. The only other living creatures near me are the deer that wander into the yard once in a while, and, sometimes, the occasional coyote in the distance. I never mind it though because it's peaceful. I've always liked the quiet, especially after living in a large city for years. Sure, my place here is small, but I made it my home. It's a modest farmhouse with a few acres of land, the sort you would never find in a city, with overgrown fields and a small, rambling garden. I'm gonna be honest, I've barely kept up with it. Oh, and not to mention, I'm not entirely alone. I have Harley. She's a Bernese mountain dog, thick fur with beautiful blue eyes. She's been with me for almost 4 years now, and she's my only company out there. She's always been a loyal companion, even when it feels like the isolation is closing in. I love the way she nuzzles my leg when asking for a walk, or how she curls up beside me in the evenings, her head resting on my knee as if she could sense when something's wrong. She's my best friend out here. But last night, that's when everything started to go wrong. I had settled into the couch after a long day, just trying to relax with a book in hand. The warmth of the fire crackling in the fireplace and the soft hum of the house made it easy to drift into that comfortable space between awakeness and sleep. Harley was there, of course. She had been lying beside me, the steady rise and fall of her chest soothing. She had fallen asleep about an hour ago, her soft snores mixing with the crackling fire. Then I heard it, the barking. It wasn't anything unusual at first, a sharp, echoing bark, like something was challenging the stillness of the night. But there was something off about it. I turned my gaze to Harley. She was still lying there, completely motionless. No perked ears, no wagging tail. She was out cold, not even reacting to the sound. That didn't make any sense. Harley was always a vigilant dog, especially at night. She reacts to every sound, every rustle in the trees, every shift in the wind. But now, nothing. I rubbed my eyes and listened again. The barking came from outside, distant, but close enough that it felt like it was calling to me. I stood up, my heart beating faster. Something wasn't right. I walked toward the window, peering into the darkness. The barking kept coming, louder now. I took a step back, my breath catching in my throat as the barking echoed through the still night. It was sharp, aggressive, and persistent, like something calling out for attention. A chill crawled up my spine, the sound piercing the quiet calmness of the house. I glanced over at Harley, her body still and motionless, on the couch, eyes closed. It didn't make sense. How could she be so calm with that loud, persistent barking outside? She was usually the first to bark at anything, even the slightest disturbance. But now, nothing. Not a twitch, not even a stir. The sound seemed to grow louder with every passing second, its urgency building as if something, someone, was growing desperate. The hairs in the back of my neck stood on end, and a sense of dread settled deep in my stomach. I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. My legs became unsteady, my heart beating in my chest as I looked further outside. I had to see it. I had to know what was out there. The wind was cold beneath my fingers as I gently pushed the curtains out of view. When I opened the window, the night air crept inside with a soft, musty scent of earth and dampness. I peered into the darkness, moonlight barely cutting through the thick trees that surrounded the house. I squinted into the darkness, and my breath got caught in my throat. The barking had grown louder, sharper, relentless. My heart thudded in my chest, but then my gaze focused on a dog in the yard. It looked like Harley. No, it was Harley. But something was wrong. I froze, feeling my pulse race as the reality of the situation began to claw at me. The dog outside wasn't moving. Its fur, thick and dark, glinted faintly in the moonlight, just like Harley's did. But no, it couldn't be her. Could it? I turned quickly to look at Harley, who was still lying on the couch, unmoving, silent. Her eyes closed, her body stretched out in the same familiar pose. She was there. She had to be there. But the dog outside, the bandana, the pink bandana that I had never seen off of her neck, the one she always wore, was clearly visible around the dog's neck in the yard. It was Harley's bandana. But wait, Harley didn't have it on right now. I looked back at the couch. She was still there, completely still. The barking from outside was so close. Now, it was real. I could feel it in my bones. I turned back to the window, but the dog outside was still there, frozen in place. Its eyes seemed to glint in the darkness. Then I realized something. I didn't take off Harley's bandana, nor was it in a place I would put it. The dog outside was Harley. So what was the dog inside? I could feel the air thicken around me, suffocating me, and my heart begin to race faster, pounding so fast that I thought I might lose control of my thoughts. I stared at the dog outside, frozen, staring at me. It didn't move, but its eyes, those blue eyes, seemed desperate, as if it were waiting for something. I looked at Harley again. She was lying on the couch, perfectly still, her head resting on her paws, not moving an inch. No twitches, no little sighs, nothing. What the hell is happening? I blinked hard, hoping to shake off the overwhelming sense of wrongness that had settled in my chest. I had to make sure. I had to confirm what I already knew deep down. Slowly, I turned my back on the window and walked back to the couch. My legs felt like they were made of jelly, but I forced myself to move. I stood over her, staring at the body lying there, unmoving. I reached down to touch her. I had to. I needed some reassurance that it was still her. My hand hovered over her fur, and I hesitated. But then, I placed it gently on her back, feeling the familiar warmth of her thick coat under my palm. But something isn't right. I pulled my hand away quickly. Her fur, it felt too stiff, rigid. There was no softness, like I remembered. My breath got caught in my throat, and my heart skipped a beat. I staggered back, mind scrambling for an explanation that wouldn't make me lose my sanity. I couldn't think. I couldn't breathe. The truth was too much to process, but the pieces were all there. The dog outside. The one with Harley's bandana. It was her. I stumbled back toward the window, my vision starting to blur as I tried to see past the creeping shadows. The dog outside was still standing there, unmoving, staring at me. That was when I realized it hadn't been Harley in the house the past few days. It had been something else. Something pretending. Something that had worn her skin and taken her place. I backed away from the window, my breath coming in short, shallow gasps. The dog inside, that thing, wasn't lying there anymore. It was staring, silent, waiting, watching. That's when I ran out of my house. I ran towards the yard, my legs heavy, each step feeling like it was dragging me deeper into some unseen nightmare. My breath came in jagged gasps, my heart pounding so loudly it drowned out every other sound, including the relentless barking that seemed to come from nowhere. The moonlight shone on the trees, casting long shadows across the yard. I reached the spot where I had seen the real Harley at, hoping against all reason that it was somehow a mistake. My mind playing a trick on me. That's right. Maybe I had imagined it. But when I got there, my feet suddenly stopped, and I froze in place. The ground was cold beneath me, but it was the sight in front of me that froze me solid. There, I saw her pink bandana, bloodied. As I stood there, staring at the bandana, my thoughts began to spiral. My mind tried to deny it, but deep down, I knew. I knew what I had seen outside, what I had thought was Harley, wasn't a dog at all. It was a creature, something that had taken her form, wearing her skin like a twisted mask. And now, the truth slammed into me like a train. Harley's spirit had been trying to warn me. I had no time to mourn. I had to get the fuck out of there. I didn't have the luxury of understanding it fully before it all shattered. Then, around me, the air grew cold. I didn't hear it at first. There was no sound, just a presence, something thick and heavy in the air. But then, a low, guttural growl vibrated through the ground like a dark, primal whisper of hunger. My heart stopped. Before I could turn around, I felt it. The breath, hot and rancid, on the back of my neck. I just ran. I ran as fast as I could.